Okay, hi Chrysalis. So for the next several weeks, we're gonna break down City of Hope into, well, I'm gonna break down City of Hope into different sections and just go over just some different artistic details and just regular details that I want you guys to work on each week. With that to say, like, make sure that you are continuously going over the whole dance on a weekly basis. Whether that's marking it in your house, or if you are able to do it more full out with more space, definitely do it. As the weather warms, you guys can get outside and try to do it. But just making sure that you're, putting on the music and going through the whole dance and doing the parts that you can do is super, super important. And try to do it as full out as you possibly can, at least a couple times a week. With that being said, if I'm going over the beginning of it this week, make sure that you're coming back to each video throughout, now until August when we meet again, to make sure that, when we do meet, that there's not a lot that we have to go over, because, you remember everything and that we're not kind of backtracking. So with that being said, today I'm going to start from, we're going to skip a little bit at the beginning, and as you can tell by now, my dog just really likes being in the way while I'm doing these videos. Sorry my head's cut off. It's really hard to find a place in my house that merits whole body videotaping. But we're going to start with the beginning posture, and I've talked about this a little bit, but just to reiterate, when we kind of walk, so we're walking in the beginning, and we're standing, except for, I believe, Fiona and Jaylene. I'd like you guys to continue with, walking in and timing it right, so that right when you get to your spot, it's time for you to start your part. But everybody else is going to stand in kind of just like what I like to call an active stance. And so we're not sitting back on our heels, because what happens when we sit back on our heels, when we go to releve or when we go to dance, we have to shift our weight forward and then go up, rather than just already being there with our weight forward and engaged so that we could just releve. Now obviously we're not releveing in the beginning, but a couple of you had the question of like, well, do I lean forward as far as I can? Well, no, because you don't want to fall forward, right? We just want to be actively engaged in our core, in our muscle, just in a stance, because you can kind of tell the difference between just standing there, like you're waiting in line or something, and active. So I want that active stillness. And then your gaze is not completely down, like your chin isn't to your chest, but it's out and down, right? So we're not looking up, but we're looking down and out. So that's your beginning position. And then you all have your own kind of duos in the beginning. So just keep working those. Those look really good. Kind of experiment with how you can be a little bit more expressive and, maybe even slow them down a little bit. We'll work on that when we come back, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. But where I want to take it from today is from when she sings instruments and we do this. So we're going to go from there and do a small section from there. So we all do our thing, and then we hit this position on 8. And so what I want to see here is a nice lunge. So I want that leg as far back as we can. So we want a nice line here, not where we're just kind of here. So I want as much of a lunge as you can. And our palms are flat and facing outwards, and our fingers are together. So we're here, our gaze is down, and this is on 8, and then we do 1, 2. So for this one, what I'd like to see, which is hard to show you in my living room, but you come from this lunge, and I want the legs to kind of hop, but with straight legs. So we come around and here, and we just mirror that position on the other side, and our arms come from this nice circle position, and they open up, and our gaze is up. So they come from here, we bring them in to the first position, but sideways, and then we open up as we come out like this. And then from there, so I think that's on 1, 2. And then we step on 3, bottom on 4, and then switch into that little attitude dive. So we bottom, we bring it down, and then swing back into this attitude. We're kind of diving into the ground, and then we come up to that passe. So with that, when you do your battement, I want you to really think about lifting up to replace that right leg and release that left leg to go back into the attitude. So we kick up our gaze is up, right? So can't see me in this video, but when we kick, when we bottom out, our gaze is up, our arms are up, and our palms are together. So I don't want it like out or anything. I want it to be in. So our arms are up, gaze is up, and then we're lifting through that releve, and then releasing the left leg to kind of dive down. And then you kind of have this position where your elbows are like pulling back, like a string is on your elbows. So it's pulling back here. And then you use that swinging momentum to come up into that passe position. So you're here, and then swing up, cross, and out. And so with that, you're lunging, your arms are kind of out like this, and you're looking towards there and kind of have that like reach. So something's pulling you there. And that's when you tuck and do the roll. The roll's looking good. A couple notes about that, or at least it was looking good last time we met, which seems like ages ago. Katie, I might need to have you help me again. So you're here, you're lunging, and you tuck that leg, and you roll. Your legs stay on the ground. You tuck your arms in, not in like a, oh, my arms are tucked in kind of way. Like, I want it to be like a little bit more natural, so like control them, but don't make them like rigid, you know, so they're kind of just hanging out like here until you, get out of the roll. So you're here, you tuck that leg, you roll, you come up, you sweep that arm up, and then hit this position. You are on a forced arch here. Well, let me just show you. Oh, I can't. LOL. So you're on a forced arch here and pushing your hips like that. These are details that I think we should all know. And your arm comes around, you're looking up. And I kind of want you to think about, again, the string on the elbows. And that's what's initiating this movement. So your string is pulling this elbow down, kind of like the tricep area, as well as this one up. So you come here. You don't stop in this position, but you definitely hit this position as you follow through. The leg straightens, and then the arm reaches up and over to this position. And you should be there by 7-8, so that on 7-8, what I'd like you guys to do is inhale here. So we're here, we're only here for a second before the next part, but I want you to take a visible inhale. This isn't like, I don't necessarily am saying like you need to move your shoulders or anything, but I just wanted you to take a big inhale, just to kind of like, feel it. Obviously we need to be breathing while we dance, but I think that really helps us to kind of be on the same track and just to kind of like, just get ready for the next part, because I kind of want the next part to have a little bit more energy, and think about that as like as an exhale. So we're inhaling, and then exhale as you come there. You tuck the leg back, you come around and stand up. So that part looks really good. I really like the way the dramatic reaches were looking, but keep working on that. So you're here, you reach, palm is down, and fingers, they're not like spread super wide, but like there's like definitely energy. So pretend like you're shooting energy out into the audience with that. But I also want your gaze and your chest to be involved. So you're reaching out, in your back leg. Don't forget, just because people can't see that one too, doesn't mean that, we forget about it. So that back leg is like, the energy is like coming out through the fingertips and the toes behind you. So you're reaching, that leg is really strong behind you. You tuck it back in to have a more condensed roll to stand up. And then I believe I said this back foot was going to be not a tendu, that it was going to be like a demi point. So we're not tenduing, our foot is like on the ground. And when we stand up, Katie, can you actually just hold this for me? And get my body in it.
Okay, well I can't see.
Oh. She can't see. How do you turn it around? You can't. I don't think you can. Okay, whatever. Never mind. I tried. Okay, so when you stand up, I'm going to do it from the front so that you get a visual. So we're facing the back, but I still want you to pretend like people are behind you and people are on the back of the stage and they're still watching. So even though we're facing the back on this part when we stand up, I still want the energy as if people could see your face and, this movement from the front. So from the front, I want the chest lifted, the shoulders are open, right? This is like a worshipful stance, and your arms are not coming up like this. They're coming up with the elbows. So again, like there's a string on the elbow. We got a lot of like, it's kind of like modern inspired with like this like triceps really pulling you up. So I want you to think about your arms being pulled up. So this is kind of hard because it doesn't mean your shoulders are coming up. So I don't want you to like pull the shoulders up like this. Pulling the shoulders down and isolating that arm so that the triceps are coming up. And it only is going to come up to like here before we turn around and do our battement for the next part. And so I still want, like we talked about in the ballet videos, whenever you're in derriere, whether it's an arabesque or your leg is literally just behind you, you have to be pulling up through these abdominals to get taller. Your chest is lifted with this part, and your gaze is up and out. And so you're being lifted up like that. So when you roll, you're going to come up, and your arms start to come up and kind of like pull your body up. Your abdominals are lifted, your gaze is lifted, your chest is lifted, and your arms are coming up like this. And then as we turn around, so from the back, you'll see, you know, engaged arms, you'll see the shoulders down, and so you want to get that, that picture from the back as well. So we're here, we're pulling up, and then to turn around, the next part is we step on that leg and we battement. And the way I want the arms to come is you're here, just kind of pull them down, so your arms are coming up. I don't want it to like, you know, be like a dramatic, like, oh, my chicken wings now. Like I want it to come up and then just kind of gently bring them down so that you can kick your legs. So you're here, and then they come down as you're turning to battement, and then we go into this part, which we'll save that for next time. So yeah, that basically sums up a lot of the comments I had for that section. So from instruments, when we do this, all the way up until when we stand up facing the back. So work on all of those details, you know, slow it down. Make sure you're looking at the video so that we have the counts, and then do that part a couple times with the music, really experimenting with that. And like I said in the last video, just really starting to add your emotion and artistry and performance to it, because we're not going to have very much time to work on that stuff when we come back, because we have 2 pieces to really refresh our memories on, to get back into our bodies. And so make sure you're doing as much work as you can now in the next couple of weeks as new videos are coming out. But I'm sure, you know, you saw in the email that Miss Tracy sent out, like all summer, we're going to have a big summer break, and then only 4 weeks. I think it's only 4 weeks to get back before we're performing this on stage. So, so yeah, definitely be diligent. Start now, take it seriously. Yeah, and then when we talk on Tuesday nights, you can ask any questions. So write down any questions you have, and yeah, we can chat about it when we all Zoom. All right, thanks guys.